I just wanna talk with my brothers. Is that too much
He
to
became,
ask? Might as well
he
look
stopped
sharp,
training
'cause I'm
at
doing it
26.
too.
And he became the apprentice, all white working class Liverpool lads. Huge program. And he was, as an African Caribbean man, he was their supervisor and a highly respected figure within within the factories, within that manufacturing sector. And because of that work, he was almost nominated, suggested to do training in not specifically youth work, but he was nominated to become a probation officer. It's a guy called, his mentor was, have you ever heard of Sir Leary Constantine?
Oh, I remember the cricketer.
Yeah.
Have I ever heard?
There you go.
Famous.
He was,
He played for Lancashire, didn't he?
Yes, he was my dad's mentor.
Oh, was he? Wow.
He was my dad's mentor. And he nominated him and mentored him through his probation training.
Because he is a great name in West Indian cricket, Laurie Constantine.
But also community.
Yeah. Was he Liverpool based, Laurie Constantine?
No, Northwest.
Northwest.
I can't remember exactly.
Because I know he played for the Lancashire. He was famous in the Lancashire League, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Because he's of that. I mean, I tell you, who also talks about Laurie Constantine is C.L.R. James.
Yes.
And C.L.R. James in his famous book Beyond the Boundary.
I know.
Has Laurie Constantine as a central figure. You've got the book. And you're looking at his Lungani there as we start to slightly go down the line of cricket. A little bit bemused.
I don't get it.
I've just mentioned two greats there, and I'm really glad you know those greats there. C.L.R. James, great because of his sort of like writings, but that book Beyond the Boundary is more than a cricket book.
Exactly. Exactly.
So if it's more than a cricket book, then what is it? What is it?
Well, to me, it's a sort of like... it's really exploring this sort of like social, political, historical genesis of the Caribbean and trying to place it within a sort of like concept of colonization, decolonization. And it's, to my mind, it's very
identity and pride.
Identity and pride. It makes West Indies, which is all the more
that's great. Thank you.
Saddening.
Thanks a lot.
When
you know what, it was because of this.
Yeah.
It was because this wasn't recording. Even though he said red there, it wasn't recording. So,
it was a huge source of
product. Now I'm recording onto the original
the West Indies cricket team.
Yeah, it was massive. I mean, one of the things that I was just about to say there about the West Indies cricket, you said about identity and pride, and I totally agree with you. And it's saddening. And I have to mention it, the West Indies only got 20, were bowled out for 27 a few weeks back. And you put that into context, what West Indies cricket was to the West Indies and to the Caribbean and to people of, that heritage. Now we won't talk about it because it is as if it's a shameful experience.
It just time has passed. The Americanization of culture in the Caribbean, sports, it happens. Young people, they'll play basketball, won't they?
Are you a sport lover then, Kent?
I was, but it was a necessity.
In what way?
It was a necessity. My mum and dad always wanted, and I'll tell you about my mum as well, in terms of her family and her strength of character. 1950 to meet, fall in love and marry a Jamaican man against significant family and community opposition. So it's as we talk, obviously I speak about my dad's experience and the African Caribbean experience, but I never forget the strength, the fortitude, the inspiration of my mum. I'm the product of my mum and dad.
Well, it's a very important point you're making, there, isn't it? Yes, and because it's often not talked about, isn't it? That actually of that generation, because
I'm of mixed heritage.
For a woman in 1950s and white women in 1950s to do something as beautiful as fall in love with another person who happens to be black and not of her background, and then have all that opposition, and then to have children.
Oh, yes.
Because this is the days when they were taking children off women, and many brown children were taken off their mothers at birth.
Yeah. But anyway, but part of the reason why that just prompted that is that both me and I've got one older brother, and we were always encouraged to. I wonder if there's some dynamic born out of love, but they wanted nothing but the best for me and Colin, my older brother. They wanted us to be the best. They wanted nothing but the best. We were encouraged, supported hugely academically.
Yeah. Do you think there was any of that? I mean, we grew up with an idea of you had to be twice as good. Yeah. Do you think there was a sort of like, although it may not have been said, did you feel as if they were driving you, giving you that drive that you're going to have to strive to survive and strive doubly to prosper?
Do you know, it probably was there, but it was born out of just wanting, there's probably no real analysis of it. They just wanted the best for us. They wanted to see us excel, not necessarily to thrive in a challenging environment, but just out of love. They wanted the best for us.
You're of Liverpool.
Yeah.
So where in Liverpool did you grow up?
So I grew up in a area called West Derby, not too far from the city centre. Not a particularly affluent area, but it's got its very nice bits.
It's got its charms,
and it's got We in terms of the schools I went to, in terms of West Derby itself and West Derby Village, it's one of the oldest sort of suburbs, I suppose you'd call it, of Liverpool. I've got very, very fond memories of West Derby, and I've got to admit, when I go back, I'll often take a detour when I'm coming back onto the motorway to come back to Sheffield to do a little detour around West Derby and look around there. So it was nice. But listen, we were the only family of colour that I was aware of, and my friendship group as a small boy in West Derby. Yeah. But that's part of that's part of the aspirational nature of that generation. As far as my mum and dad were concerned, it was a nice area. It was a step up. It was a step up. Yeah. We had a nice little semi, and my memories are very, very happy.
So we talked before, because when you think of Liverpool and you think of communities of colour, historically it was always Toxteth. What did Toxteth mean to you then growing up?
I was very familiar with it because of my dad's heavy involvement in the community. His sense of community was very, very strong. He was very active in what was called the Merseyside West Indian Cricket Club. He was, amongst many things, he was an accomplished cricketer. He played in the war years. He played for the West Indies Wanderers, which was because obviously in the war years, international sport was suspended.
Yes.
Yeah. But there was an exhibition. There were exhibition matches and other things that were taking place across various sports. But he was in I suppose what you'd call a sanctioned West Indies international side playing exhibition test matches. He played at the Oval and Lords. It was called the West Indian Wanderers, or the West Indies Wanderers. So anyway, he was a very accomplished cricketer. So he was one of the core members of the Merseyside. It was called the Merseyside West Indies, or Merseyside West Indian Cricket Club. So a lot. Every weekend in the summer, we'd go and watch him play with his compatriots. I was very familiar with Toxteth, going to get my hair cut.
Yes.
There with my dad, the barbers, the old guys, old school.
Yeah, so you've
West
been in that
Indian-
barber shop there?
West Indian, yeah.
Yes.
I'm saying that because that's what it was.
Well, yeah.
West Indian barbers
Yeah.
in Toxteth. I remember going there with my dad.
Yeah.
What were called the time around Toxteth Continental grocers.
Yes, there were.
to get,
Yes.
to get to get stuff. I grew up with a very mixed exposure to food with both on my mum and my dad's side. So as a young boy, I was exposed to yam, breadfruit, mango.
Yeah.
Very rare plantain, very rare sort of foods.
Yeah.
But you'd get, not in abundance, but you'd get them in continental
You
and
sound
African
like
grocers.
you have very fond memories of that time.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's made me
Yeah.
the person I am.
Because like we talk about the Windrush generation. I mean, what year? I mean, like around what time did your father arrive?
He arrived in 1941.
So
this
before the 48.
By a long way, this predates the Windrush generation. And remember, Windrush, it's something as we were talking about earlier, Don. You know, it's a move that's named, or it's become symbolic because it wasn't just one ship. It wasn't just the Windrush.
The Windrush, yeah.
But anyway, my dad, together with a number of his compatriots, came over 1941 as part of the war effort. He was a qualified engineer in Jamaica, in Kingston, and the call came out in the war years, and he came to Liverpool because, as well as it being a massive and very active seaport, a lot of the arms and munitions factories were based around the Merseyside area, Fazakerley and other sort of very specific areas around Liverpool and Merseyside. Huge. The docks were huge. The scale of the docks at Liverpool was.
So you remember the
enormous.
Albert docks before they turned into this tourist?
I've got memories of them. At that point, they were falling around
into
Albert
disrepair.
Dock. Yes, and and remember the history of slavery and,
that's
and the
Liverpool.
position of Liverpool
Yeah.
within the transatlantic slave trade, the triangle.
Was that something which, growing up in Liverpool, which, in the 60s and 70s, that Liverpool had a sort of like a consciousness of it, or was it just something which they'd sort of like, it had receded into the past as far as the Liverpool sense of self?
As with a lot of things about the empire, slavery, and colonialism, it had receded. It was always there. Remember the fabulous architecture.
Oh yes,
fabulous wealth in Liverpool. I'm actually quite loyal to Liverpool and Liverpool community and Liverpool people, but by no means am I blind to the history of Liverpool and the circumstances under which it is such a architecturally significant city. But I think in terms of general awareness, as with a lot of these things, it had receded somewhat. It had just become such a fabric of. But listen, we're not just talking about Liverpool.
We're talking about so many places.
We're talking about everything.
Everywhere.
No, not places.
Everywhere.
Everything. The foundations
absolutely,
of the
Britain,
United Kingdom.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you there. But just still with Liverpool, though, because Liverpool is an emblematic city in that respect towards something like empire, etc. there, and the way it grows, etc. there. And it's also an emblematic city in terms of modern day sort of like race riots, because it had the 1919 race riots there. I think Cardiff had the one as well. And it was quoted at the time of 1981 sort of uprisings as such, where they say this is the first since 1919. And again, for many of us, being grown up in Nottingham, I never really knew of Liverpool as a black city.
There's I think within within the communities in Liverpool, there's a long history of resistance, of active and dynamic resistance. The strength of identity of the African and Caribbean communities has always been very, very powerful. The Chinatown in Liverpool is substantial. At times it's had one of the largest Chinese communities in the UK as well. A very, very well-defined Chinatown in Liverpool as well. There's always been, my feeling is there has always been a tradition of resistance. This goes across all communities in Liverpool. I've got many, many friends involved in the Hillsborough campaign. And a sense of identity, both, as an aside, my older brother is a Red, he's a Liverpool supporter. I'm a Blue.
You're an Everton man.
Evertonian.
I was absolutely amazed by
Oh, the People's Club, the People's Club, mate, the People's Club. So, and so that's emblematic of people coming together, both the blue and red parts of the city. So but if I can just finish, coming together in an act of solidarity and resistance. Today in Liverpool, you cannot sell a copy of the Sun newspaper because of their disgraceful coverage of the Hillsborough disaster. All these years later.
Absolutely. I mean, it was it's now 36 years ago. And I was at the game, so I do remember it very well. I was there on the opposite side.
You were at the game?
I was at the game in 1989
I didn't know that, Don.
with Forest, Sporting Forest. And, you know, if Liverpool got the Leppings Lane end because they were coming from the west, and Forest got the other end because we were coming from the south. So you could have had if it had been the other way around, then you could have had the disasters there. But again, we go back to all the treatment people had back in those days, etc. Can I just ask you then, still back with Liverpool, about Liverpool in you and the sense of resistance you say, which it's given you there? Mixed race young man, growing up in Liverpool, 70s, 80s, go off to university, etc. How has that sort of sense of resistance fed into the way in which you've managed some of those difficult times, which we all have?
How you've navigated the...
Well, I think from my experience of experiencing direct racism and bullying through school and on the streets reflects the experience of young people of colour from time. I derive great strength and support from my mum and dad in navigating that with dignity and with strength through the tears and through the pain.
And it was tears and pain, yes.
Tears and pain.
Well, yes, of course, in common with all of us. Yes. But in my blessing from both my mum and dad, the strength and the fortitude, the self-belief to navigate that comes from them. I am the product of them. As a teenager, I was very involved in the Anti-Nazi League. Involved in direct anti-fascist action. Got to remember, in the 70s, the National Front was a hugely powerful movement.
Absolutely, yes.
In many areas, but in Liverpool, very powerful presence. I try not to look with rose-tinted glasses at the intensity and level of racism that occurred around Liverpool and Merseyside, in common with everywhere else, generationally. But I was, I suppose I inherited a sense of, natural justice. My dad said to me once, Kent, he said, "You never start a fight, but you always finish it." And those words, even I can say to hand on heart, I can say now, those words ring with me now. Those are words I share with my son at 18 years old. Exactly those words. So that sense of justice, of what's right and what's wrong. As a very young boy, And like I said, through the tears and the pain, I knew it was wrong. It was. There's no excuse. No excuse.
But you know it's wrong, but you're experiencing it, and we did experience it.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel it? You know, so that sense of. I remember one time where was it now? I was. Yeah, it's a teacher. I wrote an essay, and in that essay, I wrote about breadfruit. I mentioned breadfruit, and I said, you know, for dinner we have breadfruit. And the teacher returned the essay back to me and circled it in red and said, no such thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Which...
He wasn't cultured.
But it was that... Because what you've got there is, this is my life, this is my world, and he didn't know this.
Total denial.
And he was going to use his power to actually, in a sense, nearly emotionally abuse me. No such thing. Psychologically. I mean, and that was school those days, wasn't it?
It was. My memories of infant and primary school. I feel very fortunate in a lot of ways that the teachers. I was very lucky though that I was a very able pupil, always a high achieving pupil from infants, juniors, secondary, and that smoothed a lot of issues, particularly with the teaching staff, who were not so much at secondary school, but certainly through infants and primary, were supportive and did call out in the early mid-60s. They did call out bullying, the racist bullying that I experienced. They did, in the dim mists of my memory, they did pull up pupils for calling me names, like the N-word and the C-word. Yeah. It wasn't until secondary school that you could see a prevailing culture that may well have been shared by some of the teachers, to be honest. An all-boys grammar school I went to. But no...
all-boys grammar school, so you passed 11 plus?
No. The school was... it's a bit of an anachronism at the time. It was a selective school. But culturally, it was a very different experience to infants and primary school. But one of the things that I do remember, you're asking about what shaped me and my experience. I became very involved with anti-fascist and anti-Nazi activity as a teen in my mid to late teens. Always very conscious of the anti-apartheid movement from early, and so from my later years at school, at secondary school, and immediately upon coming to university, was an activist around anti-racism, anti-fascist, the AFA, Anti-Fascist Alliance, and the anti-apartheid movement. So I can probably trace that to not just a personal experience of injustice, but wanting to be active, being an activist. And I think I amongst everything else, I owe that to my parents.
Because I know, I mean, my first meeting with you was in '92.
Okay.
It was in '92, because at that moment, you know, like I just come from home, and I was looking for things to do in the city.
33.
Yes, 92, bro. 92, bro. Wow. And even then, it's like, but then I think my interest for me, because I know, I mean, Liverpool is a very musical city.
Oh, yes.
It's a very,
yes.
So, I mean, kind of tracing your musicality. Where did your musicality come from?
You're right about Liverpool being such a vibrant, musical, artistic city.
Artistic city.
Not just music, the number of art galleries, the broad, creative, the number of writers that have come from Liverpool. For me, I was blessed, always encouraged. I learnt piano, but encouraged with both my mum and dad, up until maybe 10, 11, up to secondary years, maybe 10, 11 years old. In common with a lot of kids into secondary school, lots of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Sort of lost interest a little bit, but then fell in love with the saxophone. Probably 15 years old. And as luck would have it, my dad, and he knew so many old Jamaican musicians in Merseyside. Merseyside, like Liverpool, Manchester. And one of his good friends was retired, not playing anymore, had a saxophone, a beautiful, beautiful old saxophone that he just wasn't using. And so I had that on indefinite loan. Within a very short while of expressing a real and genuine interest in the saxophone, I had the most beautiful instrument to start learning on. So, yeah, it was made available to me. I was fortunate with the circumstances, but then because my dad knew, my mum knew the piano teacher, my dad knew various jazz musicians, so got the instrument, and there was a friend of his, a white guy, through cricket or the probation service. Anyway, he had living in West Derby, where I lived, and his daughter was an accomplished saxophonist, tenor saxophone. My instrument is tenor saxophone. She was an accomplished saxophonist, and so when I got my second saxophone, it was from his friend Arnie Martin, I think his name was, and his daughter's name was Helen Martin. So I got a functional, modern saxophone. Did a couple of workshops with Helen, and then flew from that point on. Just flew.
Because you also play the flute.
That's more recent, Lungani. That's a more recent thing. But beautiful, beautiful instrument. Yes, I aspire to. I do try and spend time playing the flute more and more. My primary instrument is saxophone, as you know. But I did, when I came to Sheffield as a student, I was in bands in Sheffield in the early 80s. You know, it was such a vibrant music scene in Sheffield. And I played with local students, young, I suppose you'd call them new wave bands. This is just after punk, early 80s, and so I started playing the keyboards again. That experience in the past, I was playing keyboards with a little bit of saxophone. But then over time, reverted back to principally playing the saxophone.
So how have you managed them? You know, you've got your work, your career, you've got family. What's that? What role has music played for you in your life then, in terms of just your being you?
It's I genuinely think in my advice work, as you know, I've got background in guidance and advice. I think there's such a sense of self-identity around different aspects of ourselves, of the creative side of ourselves. It's quite an old-fashioned word, but we often, in the careers sort of sphere, we use this idea of vocation, having a real direction, a real emotional connection with doing something, with a job or a profession. But that applies to music and being a musician. It's part of your self-identity. It's not a recreation, although it is hugely therapeutic to do for anyone. It doesn't matter if you're doing a totally different profession. If you maintain, in my case, music, it's hugely beneficial. So it's always been hugely important to me, and I do consider myself a musician. When people say, Ken, what do you do?
Yeah.
I what do I say? I say, well, I've worked in higher education. I've been a careers and guidance practitioner, but I'm a musician. And so, yes, if I said to someone, I don't say I am a careers
Advisor.
or an educationist.
Yeah.
I say I am a musician, or I am a saxophonist. So yes, I think it is very, very central to my sense of self.
Yeah. And I think often people do talk about Kent, the musician.
Oh, yeah,
And the
yes.
saxophonist.
Except people like me, because when our initial meeting was because
Yeah.
of the guidance
Yes.
aspect of it. And many of us, we speak about we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for that conversation we had with you. You see what I'm
nice to
saying?
hear. Yeah.
And you'll be surprised, how many people whose lives you have touched. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's very gratifying. Very gratifying. So I suppose this sense of the identity. It's a plurality of things, isn't it? So yes, of course, I am. I when I think of myself, I'm musician, saxophonist. But that's just part of it.
But yes, and it's the
I am
complex mix,
I
isn't
am
it?
of my community.
Yeah.
I've always identified as part of the community. I've always been active as part of the community. I was really fortunate in working life in Sheffield. I started. Gosh, this is 41 years ago. I started working in something called the Multicultural Support Unit.
Still Sumes.
No. This
before
predated
Summers.
Sumes.
Before
This was
Summers, yeah.
part of the Libraries and Arts Department.
Oh, yeah.
So that's taking us back to 1984.
1984.
That's a
I'm
long
trying
time.
to joke here. We're big people here. We'll like to say today it's big people time.
98.
Oh,
No,
84, man.
listen. This I've got to catch myself sometimes as well. So I was the Multicultural Support Unit. This is part of the Libraries and Arts Department. So I was functioning as a library and resources assistant there. But then joined what was called the CORE project, which was a positive action project within the careers service, dealing with careers and race equality and opportunities within education, training, employment, mainly for all communities of colour in Sheffield.
Yeah.
But I was an outreach worker specifically, and the label then was outreach work with African and Caribbean communities. And so through that, this was a positive action project as part of the Sheffield Careers Service. And so once within that sort of organisation, then I studied. I got my postgraduate diploma in careers guidance, became an accredited careers advisor, and then a senior careers advisor, and then my career took me into Hallam University in the core project 87, and then went to Hallam 98. I think I was probably in the careers service for about 11 years.
What?
So you ask about identity. So yes, I do think saxophonist, musician, but that's part of it. I've been an activist. I've been a guidance advisor, an anti-racist activist for many years.
You talked about the plurality of identities, and sometimes often people want to actually just think things as a singular. My identity is, but you seem to be suggesting we have many different facets of ourselves.
Yes.
And then actually that's been important to you. It's been enriching for you. Is that the case then?
Yes. Yeah. I think the breadth of, and again, I go back to my beloved parents.
Yes.
The breadth. There's an old saying. Have you heard that old saying jack of all trades, master of none.
Yes.
And people don't understand the meaning. Did you know? So common parlance, jack of all trades, master of none. You can do a lot of things, but you're not really an expert.
You know,
in-
like, you know.
Yeah.
Did you know that that's the exact opposite of what that old saying means? The old saying, the essence of the old saying is that it's better to be a jack of all trades rather than a master of just one. And it's become flipped, hasn't it? So I was very, very lucky growing up. I had the opportunity. I'm really loving this opportunity to reflect on this experience in this way. Because with sport, both me and my brother, we had every encouragement to participate and to excel. Both me.
So you're saying then, giving people opportunities. You had lots of opportunities, lots of different experiences.
My mum and dad made sure
I
had lots of opportunities.
So one thing we have spoken about your dad, but we haven't mentioned your mom.
Yes.
You know, because for me, I mean, the fascination is like you were saying earlier, 50s. White lady,
Oh yes.
black dad. It must have been, because we talk sometimes, I think we just brush about, you know, like say love is love and stuff. But we never really look at the psychology behind that whole interaction. Because really, as humankind, we shouldn't really be made to be insular in our pursuits. I'm thinking she definitely was a maverick.
I've got to say, this has been a constant, really. I do talk about my mum a lot. The fortitude in 1949, 1950 that she exhibited to fall in love and then marry and then have children. And her story could itself be the script of a film.
I know.
Quite frankly, here's someone who overcame immense cultural pressures. Me as a baby in a pram, being pushed by my a little brown baby being pushed by my mum in a pram in Liverpool. But here's an individual. I've got to emphasise the strength of this individual, not just fortitude and enduring hostility. I'm talking about active strength. She, in a couple of the jobs that she took, first of all in a factory in Liverpool, big biscuit factory in Liverpool, and she worked there as a. Her background, by the way, in the war, she did quality control. That was her expertise. And as well as being in the WAFs, the Women's Air Force, part of her job in the ordnance factory was quality control, and that's how she met my dad. Quality control. But so after I went to school, started working in a factory, became the de facto representative of what was essentially an all-female workforce on the production line, biscuits, and was never elected as a shop steward, but de facto became their spokesperson to managers. This was a time when probably the traditional trade union movement was not as good as it should have been for the female workforce. This is the reality.
Quite happy with this, sort of like you get lower pay.
Is the reality. And then went on to work at another job, Littlewoods, I think. Anyway, another job, but same thing happened. Became the de facto spokesperson for predominantly Littlewoods male order. Anyway, predominantly female work. Became the de facto at the direct request of her other colleagues to represent them and articulate their needs. So this was an intensely, quietly spoken, very quietly spoken, gentle woman, but such strength and fortitude. That's inspiring.
Yeah.
That's inspiring.
So what was like the wider family structure like? I mean, like.
So yeah, again, I use this word a lot, blessed. So on my mum's side, I had aunties and uncles in Liverpool, and cousins, lots of cousins who I'm still in contact with. Funnily enough, my daughter recently graduated from Liverpool University, and as spent time there obviously for the graduation celebrations. But we went and visited one of my cousins. We happened to be in Liverpool and spent an afternoon with them. The cousin happens to be a fellow Everton supporter, so I do occasionally get over to, in the past Goodison, but now a fabulous new stadium.
Oh yes, so you're going to get yourself there.
Oh yes, I'm going to be. Yes, but that's on my radar and my son's radar as well. My son is an Everton.
Did he get a choice?
No.
Because I said to my son, he's a Forest fan, I said, did you have a choice? And, why do you support Forest? He said, Dad, I didn't have a choice. You can't give them choice.
What do you mean you can't give them choice?
Not with football teams.
Yeah. Despite the best efforts of
Well, they say, I mean, football is more than, it's akin to religion, ain't it?
It runs deep in Liverpool. But here's something. I cannot think of other cities. Think of the intense and often violent rivalry between Glasgow Celtic and Rangers, London derbies, Manchester derby. Intensive and sometimes spilling over into violence. Everton Liverpool derby rivalry. No, you'll find Blues and Reds in the same family.
Yeah.
There was a period in the 80s and early 90s, Everton Liverpool playing at Wembley.
Yes, I remember those, yep.
Possibly, correct me if I'm wrong, but you'd see Wembley, a mass of combined blue and red.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man.
So I'm fortunate with family connections. In Jamaica, we went to Jamaica. I took my children to Jamaica last year. Now, unfortunately, all the generation of my dad, I had an auntie and uncle there, and they passed a number of years ago. My cousins on the Jamaican side of the family living in America and Canada, who I not really had spent time with, met maybe once on a family holiday a number of years ago. But we were very, very fortunate. Went on a family holiday to Jamaica in 2012, and my auntie Laura was still alive. So we went as a family. We were staying in a hotel in Montego Bay. It was arranged for a driver to pick us up. My auntie arranged this for a driver to pick us up from Kingston to Montego Bay. It's a
good little journey. That is
significant journey. Yes. Pick us up from the door of our hotel, drive us back to Kingston, and we stayed with my auntie Laura for 3 nights out of a fortnight holiday. I think we were there for 3 or 4 days, spending time.
So you saw Kingston then?
We showed them Kingston. Yeah. We showed them a non-tourist, authentic. Spent time in Kingston. We went to some of the touristy sites, they loved it. Yeah. They loved it. The last time, last year, I went with my 2 children, and they absolutely. I'm so delighted to say they loved it. They didn't just like it.
So one of the things which comes through in talking with you there's such a pride which comes through in terms of, the love your mum and dad seem to have had for one another, the love which they've been able to pass on to you, and with that is the love of both sides of yourself there, that Jamaican side, and then there's, really beaming is that Liverpool love, and that's your mum was from that Liverpool background.
Yes, clearly. And I think that what I've found as I've got older, I'm not just turning, but I have become more and more my dad.
Yes, we do. We only saw the best sides of our dads.
Yeah, maybe not. You'll have to ask my two about that. But no, what I can say hand on heart, my parenting for my two wonderful, fabulous children, in every way I try and emulate my mum and dad's parenting and love and support of me.
Yeah.
And I find can't go wrong.
So was this love because again, we've had many conversations with many people, and one of the things which sometimes comes out is that people knew that their parents loved them, but they didn't always hear it. In your case, was it a case that you knew and you heard it?
Yeah, both. It wouldn't have to be the way it was articulated. They didn't have to say, "Kent, we love you," although they did.
Yeah.
Although, particularly in later years, they said it very regularly. But in actions and words and how they communicate, I knew. I knew, and it wasn't just, they were stern on the outside, but because of their actions, I knew. Yeah. In every aspect, their nurturing, their encouragement, both. This is something very interesting, isn't it? Really strong personalities, really strong, resilient, powerful personalities. They have the capacity to be the kindest, most gentle, and most loving. I think that's a truth.
Yeah.
That is just a truth. Yeah. The toughest, strongest amongst us, because of that strength, have it in them to be the gentlest and the softest and the kindest.
Yeah. Go on, sorry.
And so, now that you being the parent you are, now you're saying, you become your father, as many of us do.
We smile at that. We have to smile at it.
We're all laughing because it's true, isn't it?
Yeah. How important is it then to make sure that you are not only present for your children, but you affirm them? You know what I'm saying? How important is it for you? Or is it like, me and Donald had this conversation, like, when's the last time you tell your son you love him?
I hug, both of them. I hug and kiss them all the time. And tell them I love them every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah. Nearly every time I see them.
And do you think your parents sort of like demonstratively showing that there has enabled you to do that with your children in that way? Because again, many of our conversations with people, that's not the case.
Yeah, because But yes, that's a very good point, because I do think, and with friends and colleagues and so many different people, they can be informed if, say, their experience of parenting has not been has been challenging, or for a variety of reasons. I find that what they do is they are very sophisticated in what they do. Is they make sure they don't repeat the pitfalls of
but it's quite hard
of their parenting experience.
You can, and I say this from a personal point of view, you can avoid some things, but you might not do things because you don't know how to do those things.
That's it.
So
I know what you mean.
That bit you're saying there about the hugging and the saying "I love you," etc. There, and we smile and laugh. We've had this conversation so often.
I like the way you put it, man.
Doing it is still, for many of us, still quite difficult.
Yeah.
And what I've been hearing from you is that, you know, it's been there's a beauty in the way in which you've been talking about your parents, which for me has been a blessing.
No, it is.
I often hear, tell me if I'm wrong here, Lungani, we hear stories of people saying, I knew my parents loved me.
Yes.
But I never heard them say they love me.
Maybe traditional parenting from the community.
Yes.
I know. My eyes are wide open in terms of tradition. What I call what we'd understand aspects of traditional parenting.
But that's the thing, you know. Like I sort of, you know, kind of picked up from Candy is the fact that, cause really, the parents, the experience of the parents was more.
We're evacuating for a fire.
Oh.
You're gonna have to stop it.
A fire.
For a fire.
Yeah.
So there's a fire.
Everyone's evacuating the buildings.
Okay.
We can resume.
We can resume.
I'm okay for time.
Okay.
Yeah, listen. I can talk. You've got to. If you need to steer.
Yeah. Well, at that point, you know, as we were walking out there, Kent, about therapy, and talking can be therapy. Talking is therapy. I'm also talking can be therapy there. And we may have stumbled upon something when people say to us, what are you going to talk about? And I think we're starting to say, we're just going to talk about life. And, you know, how we've managed life, and there's a lot of reflection. You've done a lot of reflection today on your parents and the way they brought you up and their love for you, etc. And for me, that has been really very powerful.
And
at first, it was a little bit. I was not able to sort of like. I didn't know how to respond to it because I'm actually quite used to a different type of narrative.
Yes.
Which is terrible, really.
No, it's a terrible narrative. But don't you think then that, you know, like, and I think we have alluded to this, that in the we are shown one narrative and that becomes our experience.
Yes.
But in reality, for me, it's like, I think the fascinating thing in this case is because for me, it's no one ever speaks about the white part of their family heritage.
On the mixed race, but yes.
They will always talk about the either the black side of their family, and then so. But we are not. We are a combination of both in equal measure. You see what I'm saying? And I think sometimes if we are honest in our narrative, we'll certainly realize that we are not just made by one.
Yes, and I've got to say that, particularly in my experience, my early years experience, because of my dad's work responsibilities, he was possibly, as I was saying before, the first black probation officer in the United Kingdom, certainly in England. So therefore, United Kingdom, his work would take him away. A lot. So he's doing a lot of work with in prisons and other institutions, because at that time it's probation aftercare service, I think. So clearly, my upbringing, in terms of time, it was clearly mostly my mum. With my dad being obviously a significant figure. But in terms of day to day and being out and how my mum would handle herself in various situations. Yes.
There's if you remember, we spoke about, you know, like an earlier experience about the lady who moved to India, and basically, you remember when the conversation we were talking about on a previous relationship, without divulging much, and the sister of your ex.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I think for me, I'm always fascinated about because sometimes I don't think we give credit enough to either our mothers or our women in terms of the sacrifices sometimes they have to make, especially when they enter into a relationship. as men, we just assume that, you know.
That's a fact of life.
Yeah.
In terms of patriarchal versus matriarchal understanding of the dynamics that a lot of people have to deal with.
And also there is the element you're saying there, which is when you know, for many women, when they marry a man, it is literally they're going into their world nearly as well.
Yes.
And that world can be quite a different world.
It is a different
You were alluding
world.
there to my ex-wife's sister, who married an Indian and went to live in India and was there for 40 odd years, is there for 40 plus years, 50 plus years now, and essentially is Indian.
Yes. That's it.
And there is therefore...
Yeah.
Go on.
But you see, I think people do travel. We do expand our experiences. You know, you talk about worlds moving between worlds.
Yes.
There's an aspect of that dynamic that is entirely healthy.
Yes.
It's a good thing.
That it's an expanding.
Yes, because actually,
cultural
you'd hate to
world.
think that actually one is because we often talk about community there. Family and community are absolutely beautiful, but they also have social norms,
Yes.
and those social norms sometimes can be that actually people. If you've ever read Sam Sevlon's Lonely Londoners.
No,
No,
I
it's
know the author,
1956
I know
it was
the author,
written.
but yes.
And I read it last year,
Yeah.
first time ever. And one of the things which came through with all the big stories about why people moved, economic reasons, etc., were very personal reasons. They weren't getting on with the family. Just a very, I just don't want to live in this family anymore. I want to go away and do my thing there. And it was, and I thought, well, yes, why wouldn't
Why
it
not?
be?
That's it. Why not?
And I think it's quite natural that we think of these big themes because we've been fighting
Yes.
racism and misogyny and huge issues for so long that we think in quite cinematic terms about rights, about oppression, which of course that's right. But we're still functioning people within this huge cinematic
Yes.
landscape
That's it.
of
That's it.
oppression and colonialism and empire.
Yeah.
That we're still emotional people dealing with.
If you ever get the chance, go see this play I saw in Manchester, which I talked about, which was about the 5th Pan-African Congress,
Yes.
because the writers do that really well. So you've got Kwame Nkrumah, you've got Jomo Kenyatta there, and they've all got personal stories and things
Yes.
they're trying to deal with at that same time.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. I think for me also it's like I remember speaking to Michelle Scarlett Clark, the poet, you know, from Leeds, mixed parentage. Also, this is the first time I heard of the the terminology liminal space, because she has a poem about that, the in between. You know, because sometimes there are some of us who navigate the in between spaces because we don't, as much as we present, sometimes we don't really want to follow the path that's obvious. So we straddle the in-between spaces. As much as we look the way we do, our experience doesn't really
You sound like
embrace.
you're talking about yourself as well here.
No, I'm just saying, no.
Because I know what you
exactly,
just. I often talk about it as a sort of marginality.
Yes, yes. Because sometimes it's like you don't really. So we pick bits from here and there, and it becomes our experience. But that's the thing. The world we somehow we live in doesn't really have that. It doesn't really somehow. It doesn't openly understand when you say, "I don't want to pick a side. I just want to be me." You know, I will fight with you. I identify with what you are saying, and I understand. But let me pick my space in this.
But I'm going to pick up something which Kent said then about himself. There is a side, if you make a side which you call justice,
Yes.
and that you're fighting injustice.
Yeah.
There is a side if you're sort of like, being an activist for anti-racism, racism against racism. But those sides can be anybody's sides.
That's
Anyone from
it.
anywhere
Yes.
should be
That's
picking
it.
those
That's
sides.
it.
Yes. We've had, I've had in various different contexts, very active in the Black Justice Project.
Yes, I remember Black Justice Project. Yeah,
Remember that?
I remember that.
And really clear that there's a real sense of agency for everyone, not just people of colour. That, you know, there's, when we're talking about anti-misogyny and the role of men in being not just observers of female empowerment, but active allies, and actively calling out things, whether it's within ourselves, and we're educating ourselves all the time, or we see it in others and other men. We become active
And that's
allies.
actually sometimes the hardest thing
And
to
that's-
do,
and that's
is when
crucial.
you're with, you know, let's just say on the issue about misogyny, which is when we're with other men,
Yeah,
actually calling out other men.
absolutely.
That's it.
That's a difficult one, that is, because it's easier not to,
Yes.
but it's then you're not doing anything. You're not being active. You use the word active as activism.
An active ally.
And that's
and
why
that's
you get nonsense like locker room talk, as if it is actually a
yes.
thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
but
It's and things like you know, stuff with older individuals. It's of a time, and my argument, you know, it's outmoded. It's what you'd expect set in the 70s or earlier. And my argument is simply no. Even then,
It was wrong.
it was wrong then. no, and even then, there were people of conscience
Yes.
calling out then, like abolitionists.
Yes.
Clear example. Even then, people were calling it out. Post-colonial oppression. Even then, people of conscience were calling it out. Inappropriate use of language from 60s and 70s. Even then, people of conscience could see it was wrong and were calling it out.
Now, as you talk there and you physically emphasise there, what also comes across there is that you're 65 and there's passion still. A lot of passion in terms of, like, you know, which one of the things we explore as well is this idea of doing this olderhood. And, you know, when I see you talk like that and you think, yes, that's right. It's right.
Well, with so many things, you know, with our lived experience of the world at the moment, we know that you have a sense of what's right, but it's not just having a sense of what's right. It's converting that into activism
yes,
and participation, and that for me is very, very important. And that is part of how I was brought up to be.
Yeah.
Not just nicey words. Actually do something about it.
Yeah.
but that's the thing, because many of us we will have those conversations behind, you know, like in our corners, but it never becomes something that we do outside those spaces. And I guess that's
Well, isn't that a little bit of that thing we've talked about before, which is about you to put your head above the parapet?
Yes.
And it can be in all walks of life. Some of the conversations we've had here is about people who've led in terms of they've been like your dad, been the first black probation officer in the UK. Someone is going to be, you know, like a head teacher in their secondary school, or someone is going to be a criminal lawyer. You're going to be often one of a few.
yes,
And being
Pathfinder.
one of a
Yes.
few is very visible.
Yes. Yes.
And that in itself carries with it quite a weight. You know, sometimes you don't want to be visible. You know, I just want to just do what I do, but just by the very fact you are who you are, it doesn't go like that.
People's choice, that they don't want to be a symbol of anything.
Yeah.
They just want to do their own thing. But sometimes they don't have that choice to make.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you said something very, very interesting. We were at the great Uri Rennie's funeral. Very moving, but at the same time uplifting. And this idea of the struggle, constant struggle listen, man, it's tiring.
Yeah.
It's tiring. You can have. I've experienced burnout and sort of serious emotional and mental issues around struggle and personal circumstances and things like that. And and that's a reality. Sometimes we just need to be kind to ourselves.
Yes.
I remember going through a phase of like everything, every racial slur. I'm not talking about directed at me. If I would hear it on a bus, I'd challenge the people using that terminology. In a pub, I'd challenge them. It was so tiring.
Yeah.
Same thing with, I've got to say, same thing with misogynistic, sexist, horrible, vile sexist language and calling it out. And of course, given what I was saying before about the responsibility, we all have that responsibility. But I'm just talking about constant struggle. It's tiring, and there comes a time. Sometimes you do have to pick your battles. It can be exhausting if you're fighting on every front, all the time. I experienced that, and found it so tiring, and it was affecting my mental health. And I had to make some decisions. And there's a very I can't remember who originated this, but there's this great approach. It's called, it's basically picking your battles. It's whether you decide whether to pick up the gauntlet or not.
Yeah.
So the gauntlet's thrown.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, yes.
But you decide. So, and sometimes you just make the conscious decision. No, I'm not going to pick up the gauntlet this time.
You said there about be kind to yourself. It's very important to be able to be kind to yourself, which it's not easy sometimes because we do beat ourselves up.
That's the truth.
And in the context which you're talking about, we can beat ourselves up because we believe that we've let something go when we shouldn't have let something go. But maybe
I should have said something.
I should have said something.
I should have said something.
I don't feel that strong. It's all right to admit sometimes I don't feel that strong. I'm not the strongest. Not all these sorts of things you can say and should say to yourself to look after yourself there, because when we were talking there at Yura's funeral there, I think I'd come to you after I'd been speaking to someone else, speaking to Stan, and we were just talking about our upbringing and where we were brought up, and just thinking about, man, when we were young, it was hard, and it wears you away. And we look around us, and we started this conversation with a sort of little bit of conversation around the Windrush generation has nearly gone, but the children of the Windrush are going quickly.
Yes.
No, that's it.
So
that's it.
we
They're
are,
going.
unless we come to a sort of close there, we like to ask this question, which is, so what do you do to look after yourself? I'm going to make Lungani ask this question, because he asked it much better than me.
No, I usually say, what is your thing? No, actually, before even then, how is your mental health?
How is my mental health now?
Yes.
It's robust. I think I retired from 26 years at Hallam University last December. And that clearly there's a quite intensive work environment. There's a period of, you've got to have a period of depressurization. But no, I can say genuinely I'm in a good place at the moment.
And what are you doing? What is your thing that actually helps you with that? Yeah.
What's my thing? There's a couple of things. One is the obvious is music. So not only is it performing music, but it's being involved in music development. I'm a big advocate of collaboration and development. It's a vibrant scene in Sheffield at the moment. Things like the Footprints Jazz Club young guys running the most fabulous
Oh, yeah, because
collective
is it like Kellam?
footprints. Yeah,
Kellam
Kellam
Island.
and Hagler's Corner. Funky drummer, a promoter, doing the most fantastic sort of music events with DJs and musicians covering a variety of musical styles. So there's music development. We've got a legacy here in Sheffield of music and music performance, and that's really, really important. So yeah, performing and music development. But I think another key thing for me is sense of purpose.
Yes.
Sense of purpose. So retaining, I will always say, I'm an anti-racist, anti-misogynist. I'd go as far as say activist, campaigner. I will associate myself and work with collective activity around campaigns, as well as how I conduct myself individually. There's something very significant about being with others, doing things collectively, being part of a campaign, showing solidarity. So yeah, what my thing is, definitely music, but I have retained that core activist. I am an anti-racist, and I can say I'm an anti-racist, anti-misogynist. I believe in social justice. I call myself a socialist, proudly. And it's very interesting that, you know, there's this received wisdom that as you get older, you become a bit more moderate, and you know, life, you pick up all the baggage of life and stuff like that. No, not for me. As I've got older, I was radical to start off with.
Yeah.
I'm just as radical now, if not more so, and angry about things that I see in the world. There's things in the world that make my blood
Helps, and
boil.
And you know what? Being able to articulate it and recognise it is good for your mental health as well.
No, it is.
Don't keep
Don't
it in.
bottle it up.
Don't bottle it up. Let it come out.
So where can we hope to see your next performance then?
Oh, it's funny you should say that. Honestly, that's great. I didn't prompt you in this at all. No, seriously.
Yeah.
I'm still involved. My personal musical project is a group called Montuno, and I've been involved with that for many years. And we do funk music, soul music, Latin jazz. The guy, it's a collective of musicians and singers that create the most
He teased
fantastic
me last
music.
time I saw him.
Oh, yeah,
He said
yeah,
he
yeah,
saw
that's
me
okay,
there.
yeah,
He
yeah.
said you were out of beat. You remember you said that to me. You said
that?
I was out of beat.
Oh really? Oh dear.
As I was clapping along.
Were you on the offbeat?
Yeah, I was on the offbeat.
Yeah. No, I remember now. Oh, it's so important.
Say, what's wrong with you, Donald?
Yes. So a collective of the most fantastic musicians from Sheffield, who technically superb across so many genres. We have obviously funk, soul, Latin music, the most sublime gospel singers who sing with us, and it just so happens, Lungani, we're at Leopold Square this Saturday.
I am coming. What time?
This Saturday, 2 till 4:30.
Oh, I'm not here.
I know.
Good for you,
mentioned it.
bro.
I know you did, and I said I wasn't
Yeah,
here.
you're not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leopold Square. At
Leopold
2 till
Square.
4.
Saturday, that's Leopold Square. Saturday the 9th.
And the weather forecast is
The weather
very
forecast
good.
is The weather forecast is good.
Ah.
We were very busy over tram lines. We did
Yes.
create some wonderful music over tram lines. So yes, funk, soul, Latin, jazz.
Yes.
And that's what we're creating on this Saturday afternoon. But keep an eye out. We do play around the Sheffield
Spaces.
area.
Yeah.
And I'm collaborating with other musicians and other bands as well.
Yeah. So this retirement
Great product.
lark, you've got plenty of things to.
Our sense of purpose. I'm like one of the big talked about vocation. From its inception, I've been a huge supporter and advocate of Sadaka. I remember 1987.
Yes.
I've said this to people before. I helped create a job club for young African Caribbean people in Sadaka, 1987. So one of the things, and Sadaka is just going from strength to strength at the moment. And one of the things I'm committed to is doing some mentoring. We've got some hugely talented young black managers working there in Sadaka. So I'm going to be contributing and helping with mentoring and coaching.
Yeah, great one.
Those
Brilliant
managers,
stuff.
leadership.
Yeah, and
management
that's another
skills.
big plug there for Sadaka. You know, there's lots going on there.
true.
I'm with you on
Absolutely.
that there. It's on and up, isn't
Yeah,
it, there? And I'm hoping I'm going to get myself. I saw Robert last week and asked him about, because I've seen you, little on the Instagram there at the Skank and Boogie.
Yes.
I saw you. So I'm going to get myself to Skank and Boogie.
You'll see the place, the atmosphere.
Yes, it is a great atmosphere.
The participation, and I like, and I'm very again this concept Ubuntu.
Yeah.
I am because we are.
Yes.
I love that concept. I've been aware of it. It's not something new to me.
Yes.
But I just love how Sadaka is
Has embraced that, yeah.
embracing that. But what's the right pronunciation?
Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
I am because we are.
Yes,
I like.
yes, yes.
It's like
Love it.
it's the bedrock of Pan-Africanism. You know.
It's a good place for us because I'm mindful of our time.
Of the
here,
time,
for us to finish on that.
Yes.
of-
Yes.
You say it for us because your pronunciation is better.
Ubuntu.
Yes.
I am because we are.
I am because we are.
we are.
Yeah.
And that's what we are, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's a joyful experience sitting there.
It's always a pleasure,
today,
man.
Kent. I mean, personally, we've met many times before, and we've had conversations. But this has been a beautiful occasion just to
Yes.
sit with you, very focused, and just share with you. And it's been a delight.
It's been a pleasure, man.
I know,
It's been a
and
pleasure.
it's been my pleasure to share and celebrate aspects of my life,
Yes.
things that are very formative
Yeah.
for me, and just be able to talk with you. There's so much. Now I'm thinking, there's so much I've left out. There's so much.
There's always remember.
When I
There's
look
us.
at this, when I look at this again, but no. Thank you for this opportunity. From the bottom of my heart,
Yeah.
thank you for this opportunity to just converse and share.
And then hopefully, when this becomes a syndicated show on the BBC.
Well, we have got we have got a thank you event being planned for the 28th
for the
of
28th.
August,
28th
5
of
till 7 at the university.
Yes.
So thank you for all the people who've come on to the podcast there. So Robert and David Campbell's, Keith, Steve Edwards,
Yes.
lots of different people. So, and that's been another incredible thing. The amount of incredible people within the
Yes.
community.
We have rallied behind us.
You just having a chance to talk to them has been our pleasure.
Yeah, and also, I mean, like to just acknowledge the university for
Yes.
hosting us, because it's one of those things we can't really just take it for granted that we have a space where we can record and stuff, and people come here and it's a great place to be at, and we're grateful for that. So thank you, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure, man.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, there. It's been great talking to you.
No, it's always a pleasure, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've got there's so many stories, aren't they?
In talking to you now, all the light bulb flashes and all the memories. There's just so much there. I've started journaling.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
And don't worry have you finished.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've started journaling about different things, about my own life.
We are gonna get there. I forgot to ask about it. When is the book coming out?
He always liked to ask that one.
No,
coming up?
I've started
You're
journaling.
journaling,
It was COVID, maybe a
Yeah.
little bit before. I've always kept little snippets of, over the years, I've always kept little snippets, mainly around music and gigs and
Yes.
things like that. But I wrote, I did 2 summer schools at LIPA, which is Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts. I didn't even mention that. There's so much. I did 2 summer schools at Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts, 1988 and 1999.
Yeah.
Didn't even touch on them. Anyway,
Well, there's so much.
Yeah, but
Well,
we look forward. We
that's
look
a
forward.
life.
To
We're
That's
coming
a
back.
life.
so we look forward to the book, and also we for our next conversation, it'd be nice to kind of look at some of the personal work that you've been doing in terms of kind of, like you're saying, looking at the journaling aspect and the importance of journaling, because many of us we don't have our own narrative,
I mean, because there's a project for a black archive. I've such interesting conversation with Robert and Olivier Seymour about, Olivier?
Yes.
Just about concepts, about our use of colorism, our use of the words race.
Yes.
Yeah, Robert was talking about this on Friday, wasn't he?
Colorism.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I am not, Olivier says no, I'm not a black man.
He's
No, I'm
very,
not black.
he's adamant
I'm
about
not a
that.
black man. that whole sense of language. And it's really interesting.
Because in a way, it's borrowed language. It's language which has
No,
been
it is,
forced
it
upon
is,
us.
it is.
You know,
Colonial,
and
white,
it is.
black.
I mean,
It's
I always
not-
remember
it's a
reading.
nothing.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
abstract.
Shimanda
There's
colonial-
Nkosi wrote in one of her books there about one of her characters. It's set during the Nigerian Civil War, and he basically says, before the white man arrived, I didn't know what I was. I wasn't a black man. I wasn't a Nigerian.
Yes.
I was just. I mean, this gets even
What's her
referenced.
name? What's her name? The conservative leader. She got so much.
Kelly Badenoch.
She got so much backlash for saying that she doesn't identify as Nigerian.
Yeah, but there's a very specific, you're familiar with the capos in the Second World War. There's an aspect, I think Slavonic capos were some of the most vicious, vile individuals in the concentration camps, both Jews and Slavs.
Well, that's survival,
as-
you could argue.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
The capos were people selected from the.
Oh, yes.
Who,
Yes.
and
Who
they,
they-
who then
they-
perpetrated
Yes, the
some of
crimes.
the most vile.
Yes, absolutely.
In South Africa, Gacha Buthelezi and
Yeah.
his Zulus were some of the worst.
Yeah.
I know.
The worst
But the only reason-
perpetrators of
Yeah, the only reason I was saying
atrocities
about
on the people.
yes,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
capos.
yeah.
But the only
And
thing I was
that's
saying
the
with
ca-
that
that's the
though,
capo thing.
where you said about in the concentration camps there, those people there, those Jewish people who essentially were putting other people into the gas chambers, etc.
Yes,
there,
yes.
I would say that's different to Buthelezi. Buthelezi wasn't in those circumstances. He had much more choice about what he
Buthelezi
did.
wasn't.
Yes.
But the KwaZulu guys who were in the militias,
Yes.
killing and raping,
Yeah.
they were.
Yeah.
But again, if you read, I've just read a book by, remember Armand Gurner?
Yeah.
His
Oh,
brother's a
yes.
Nobel Peace Prize
Hey,
winner.
what happened to him?
Yes,
Oh.
and he died.
Oh, yeah.
And he's written a book about Tanzania when the Germans were in control and how, including his grandfather, joined the German East African Army. In many cases, they were captured and put into the army. Other cases, they chose to do it because they're going to get some sort of status. And they were encouraged by the Germans to be the most brutal killers
Yes.
you could get. Again, the South Africans did that.
Yeah.
The British did that in Nigeria. You Americans,
we call them
you-
Americans, but the Native
but you
Americans.
encourage,
even that is wrong.
Yeah, so
Yes.
you're getting back into that
Yeah,
personal,
yeah, even
that
that's
personal, where
involved.
people opt to do things there,
Yeah.
where they gain something from it.
Yeah, because like we were talking about I think somebody was written a book about the sort of like the mixed community in either Zimbabwe or South Africa. The very fact that the children of the black and white, kind of couples were conscripted into the white armies.
And conscripted is the word.
Yes. to then fight those who raised them, because most of them were raised either by their black mothers. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that also why you suddenly found that there was a high level of mental health issues in the mixed race community in South Africa and in Zimbabwe, and the what you call self-medication.
Yeah.
You know,
with the drink and everything like
with
that.
the drink and stuff.
Alcoholism.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same with what we call Aborigines in
The
Australia.
native, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, indigenous
Alcoholism
people.
and drug abuse
Yes.
there is horrific. Maoris,
Yes.
alcoholism
Yeah.
and drug
See,
abuse.
I'm
is-
reading a book at the moment by an Indian writer, Pankaj Mishra, or something like that, and it's about after Gaza, he's calling it.
Yes.
And one of the bits which just comes out really loudly is for the Jewish people, it's the Holocaust has become
Yes.
the thing.
Yes.
But the Holocaust now, its narrative is such that actually, for the global South, which is decolonization and slavery, that's the big one, which is not taken on board by the West. The West doesn't
No.
want to know about
No,
decolonization.
they don't.
Superseded
It's
by
been
Gaza.
superseded. Yeah,
It's been superseded by
and
Gaza.
even to the degree, and that's only up 1945 to 1960. Israel didn't look back at the Holocaust.
Yes.
The Holocaust was a place of shame.
Yes.
You know, we let ourselves go to the gas chambers. Essentially, is what the Jewish people fought. But since '67, it's been, in a sense, commandeered into this. It justifies all our actions.
Thank you for joining us today.
It is. It's
Don't
just
forget to subscribe on your
justifies-
favorite podcast platform and never miss an episode. Until next time, keep those conversations going and the clippers buzzing.